Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. And in the wake of the New York Subliners drama with Priestahh over the last several days, he's revealed the two organizations that himself and Slasher as a team of two were talking to potentially join. They ended up going for the Boston option, but Rokkr was also a possibility on the table. He reveals though that those discussions fell through, and the rumor has it that that was because that Rokkr spent too much time waiting around to give them an actual concrete offer. Did Rokkr fumble the bag on this one, or did Boston simply offer way too much money for that to ever be a viable option? Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Krim was out in, well, I think he's still out in Saudi Arabia, right? And I think he kind of got cooked in his first race, but it's all good. There's more to come, hopefully, for Crimsix out there right now. And yeah, obviously he's on the Autobahn here, just absolutely bombing it, which is, of course, classic Crimsix activity. Also got to mention this, right? So, are you surprised that we have new bundles in the game? Nicki Minaj is going to be in the game. I think, was there not some drama about this? Where Nicki Minaj, like, she tweeted something, or there was something she did that meant that she couldn't take up this offer to, like, be in the COD game. And I think she tweeted about it ages ago. And now she actually has got the job done. So she's getting paid a big bag, I'm sure, for this. And if this works, like, actually from a marketing perspective, fair play. But it is a little bit frustrating to some degree, is it not, that we have, you know, the Nick Mercs, the Tim the Tatmans, the Swags, right? Swag was meant to be in the game as well. The first two get removed because of the drama. Swags then doesn't go anywhere. And, you know, the Scump, the Crimsix, the Nature, whatever operators never happen. But yet Nicki Minaj is in the game and Snoop Dogg is in the game again. Snoop doesn't miss, man. Like, this guy's always here ever since, I'm sure a lot of you guys got and downloaded the Call of Duty Ghost Snoop Dogg voiceover pack or whatever. That was just classic stuff. So Snoop's still in the game. Okay, he's back in the game, I guess. Here he is. And also 21 Savage. I don't think we have any, well, this is clearly not his actual character model, is it? So I guess we don't have any actual pictures of what that's going to look like quite as of yet. But Swag, understandably, is, you know, not so happy about this, right? Because he's saying, damn, Snoop, Nicki Minaj, like 21 Savage in the game, and Swag's, he was meant to have a character in the game, just like Nick Mercs and Tim the Tatman, but they said no because it's too risky, apparently, with these creators. But yeah, you know, these have no issues doing this. So a little bit frustrating, I suppose. The other update that's arriving to Modern Warfare 2 Season 5 is going to be Strike from COD 4 back in the game. I believe this was leaked a while ago now, and this is quite, if you guys have played Strike, this is very clearly Strike here from this little teaser trailer. And Strike is one of my favourite maps ever in COD history. Probably a bit of a hot take, actually, from that perspective. But, you know, in COD 4 and especially Modern Warfare Remastered, where I played a lot of it in Search and Destroy game battles, it's just a fantastic map. Now, would it work well in the current titles we have, especially because they're probably going to chuck doors all over the place? I don't know. But it's just a bit frustrating that one of the best Search and Destroy maps ever in COD history, and I think that's, you know, for people that have played it from back in the day, would at least put it in that ballpark in the conversation, has not been added for the entirety of the life cycle of Modern Warfare 2, but now comes after the life cycle, when we can't even play the game anymore on a competitive level, and we're looking forward to next year's game, where we are hoping for sure that in Modern Warfare 3, we have other classic throwback maps arriving, hopefully some of the old school MW2 maps or MW3 maps or whatever, they bring them back for the new game, but we didn't really get any actual good throwback maps at all during the regular lifespan of the game we've just played. We were stuck on maps like Mikado, Search and Destroy, Fortress Control for part of the year. That wasn't especially good. This is Strike, by the way, if you guys have never seen it before. This is just an overview from the skybox in a sense. So it's mostly viable really for Search and Destroy, and I mean, the offensive spawn would be down here on the bottom right hand side, the defensive spawn would be over here. One of the bomb sites was inside this area, so the A bomb was here, the B bomb was back here, and there was this great like sniper duel you could have on these stairs that would go across the way, and the sniper in this spot could watch the cross, unless you could chuck a smoke in the middle of the map, and then you could use this fish building, you could get right into the bomb site over here, but then the defensive team would be set up, so there was so much you could do on this map, so much complexity in the attacking and the defensive sides. it's not really a map that a 1 minute 30 rounds works so well for. I think you need the rounds to be like 2 minutes, and I don't know nowadays with the way the game is currently played and all the doors they'd probably add, whether it would actually play very well. But if there were no doors and it was just added the way that it was previously, and maybe you'd have to, like, I don't know if 1 minute 30 would be quite enough, it probably should be. But you know, this map used to play quite slow and strategically. In the same way, as far as I'm concerned, like, this map is the only map that I've ever played in COD that I feel like if you actually put it into Counter-Strike, it would have a chance of working. In some way, there'd obviously have to be some changes, but I think that it would actually be plausible. But still, I would have really liked to see it actually in the game for the cycles. They could put it in for Search and Destroy and see how it plays, because fundamentally it should play great. There's so much you can do, nade spots, like, you know, spots you can jump into, angles, just a great map. And as Parasite says, they actually finally did it. They remade the map Strike for Modern Warfare 2 Season 5. After the game's life cycle is over, they remade one of the best maps of all time. Are they serious? So I agree with Parasite's take on this one. Would be nice to have it back in the game, but clearly it's not happening at the moment. To be played in the CDL at least. Bit of drama as well on the Halo side, because Formal waded into this one on the format really, saying there was lots of talk here from Spartan and from Snakebite and others, and even from Lucid, that the current format is putting the first and the second team in pools through to the winners round 1. The third place losers team, or the third place, goes to losers round 1, and the fourth place is gone. Whereas for the Fort Worth September major tournament, the first in pools gets the bye to winners round 2, second and third go to winners round 1, and then the fourth goes to losers round 1. And every team seems to agree that this is the superior way to do it, and it is a bit confusing why they're doing this for only one of the events. And you know, as Spartan says, Frosty, Snakebite, Lucid have all agreed with me, we must fight to change this format. And Formal comes in and says, yes, great idea, but I will think they'll choke. We'll see though. So Formal not got much confidence in the HCS and 343 to actually make this right, but I guess we'll see about that. Let's talk then about Boston. They're actually doing a podcast now called The Locker Room with Dens and Zed. They're bringing on their guys, Priestahh, Snoopy, Slasher, I'm sure, down the line as well. And whoever their fourth is going to be, I would say the present rumor is probably leaning Capsul's way, but we don't seemingly know for sure at the moment. So this is episode 2 right now, and they talked to Priestahh about all the drama over the last several weeks. The most interesting thing to me was the possibility of Priestahh and Slasher, who were quite quickly, I think, after Slasher was dropped from FaZe and Priestahh was dropped from New York, really. I mean, okay, the negotiations broke down, but we saw what Priestahh said the other day, that really, if they wanted to keep him, they could have done. They basically just wanted to drop him. That's why things happened as they did. Slasher and Priestahh, they were a duo back in the Black Ops 4 days and 100 Thieves. They wanted to run it back. They were talking to certain organizations. And outside of the top organizations and the organizations that can actually pay money, there weren't too many offers out there, right? I mean, even Thieves, they could go back there, but, you know, I'm not sure that JCap and Slasher really want to get on and make that happen again. And even if they do, the money might not have been right for those guys, given where they want to be. So Priestahh confirms that it was between Boston and the Minnesota Rokkr.
And then, you know, we're happy that you're on board with Boston, all right? But what was it about Boston? Like, you know, and furthermore, like, what are you going to bring to the roster, knowing kind of, I mean, we kind of know the team now.
Yeah.
But, you know, what kind of about like Slasher and Snoop really excites you in terms of this team's ability for next year as well?
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't a lot of orgs that were at like the top of our list, because obviously the market's a little bit down right now in the esports like community in general. But it was, you know, obviously between, I think you guys know, it was between you guys and Minnesota that we're kind of talking with, and like that kind of fell through. And honestly, like just having you guys as coaching staffs, I think is gonna mesh really well with me, Austin. So that was like a big thing for me as well, like. Because I know Minnesota, I don't know exactly what they're doing coaching staff-wise. I know Brian was released, and I think they might have Dan still. But just in general, just like the talks that we had, just like it felt like natural, it felt good. I just had a good feeling about it just from the start. And I feel like Austin, you know, had that same feeling. So, like, we were just both excited that it was able to work out this way.
So I think it was interesting that they used the term there, fell through, or that was at least how Priestahh described it. It wasn't like they chose between either option. It was like the Rokkr thing was going to be there possibly, and they were having conversations, but it fell through, which, you know, doesn't sound like Sasha and Priestahh just chose Boston. It was almost like they were forced into Boston because the Rokkr thing didn't arrive. And that was the rumor, actually, that Ronnie said here on the Reddit, because he says that from his understanding, Rokkr took ages to send a proper offer or something. That was what I heard. So if this is true, it's pretty interesting that Rokkr managed to, I don't know if they necessarily fumbled on this one. The team that Rokkr have formed is, a lot of people would say, is rather underwhelming. If they'd have got Slasher and Priestahh, I like that in general. I think outside of the top 4 theoretical teams, that's probably the best starting point. And Boston, in my opinion, will go into the season as the theoretical 5th best team. Does depend on their SMG, to be honest. I don't think that I've got any concerns about Slasher and Priestahh as an AR combo. Okay, there maybe are a few risks involved there, but I think that's fine. It's the SMGs, it's the Snoopy, the Capsidal, or the Snoopy, the Standy, or the Snoopy Hook, or whatever it's going to be, that is going to raise the questions. But I think there's enough there to believe that that team on paper should be the 5th best behind the top 4. And obviously there's upside beyond just being the 5th best, right? But if you're Minnesota Rokkr, I think they don't have on paper as strong of a team as Boston are going to be putting together here. We'll see that in a second. So did Rokkr fumble on this, or was it just a matter of they were trying to figure out what they can actually pay Slasher and Priestahh and whether that's going to be anywhere near enough to actually get them out of the Boston situation? Because the rumor was from Octane that Envoy turned down a 400k offer. Now, we don't know if this is true, but if they were offering Envoy 400k to go over there and he decided to join Toronto instead, then you'd think they're not offering Slasher and Priestahh. They would be offering them, I suppose, less than this because Envoy was in higher demand than those 2 players we just mentioned. But nonetheless, Boston seemingly can offer and are offering big money to try and form a great team, in the same way that Thieves have done previously, and Nadeshot now said, well, we're kind of in a spot where we can't just keep paying this money year after year, so we're going to have to calm it down. And their opinion is at Thieves that other teams will have to follow suit over the coming years. Boston may be one of those teams over the next couple of years, but for now, they're still offering big money, right? So do you think that it was more Rokkr fumbled the bag and they failed to deliver a decent, proposal to Slasher and Priestahh in time, and therefore they went that way? Or was it like, well, Boston just offering more money? So, because Rokkr paid a lot of money over the last couple of years, and I'm sure that they're also thinking about downscaling that a little bit just to make for a slightly more affordable roster. That is, this is the current rumored team of 4 that they're meant to be forming. Would this team be better with Slasher Priestahh instead? I would say probably, but to be honest, you never really know, and there will be teams this season that are worse than we think, and there'll be teams this season that are better than we think. Just to also mention, speaking of Slasher, because we did see the other day that with him confirmed to be joining the Boston Breach, he will have played for 5 different franchises in the 5 different years of the CDL. There are 2 other players that can do exactly that. One of them is Asim. He's played for Minnesota, New York Subliners, LA Gorillas, London Royal Ravens. So if he was to go to any of the teams you mentioned, or if he was to go to Paris or something like that, then he would play for a 5th different franchise. And then TJ, okay, Vegas Legion, but you guys know what I mean. And then TJ has played for OGLA, a franchise that no longer exists, so he can't go back there. Thieves, Boston, Vegas, and if he goes to a different team, like let's say Los Angeles Gorillas, he will also join Slasher as being, going 5 for 5, I suppose. So that'd be quite the achievement for any of these guys. But that's where we're going to leave it for today. Very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.